If they couldn't find a developer, well, the city of Olean was seriously considering demolition of the building.
To turn a building around like this that is so central to this town, it's literally on the main town circle. It's such a central part of the geography, the architecture, the aesthetic of the town, and it's really a central part of everybody's heart in the town.
I'm most proud of the fact that the historic integrity of the buildings were retained, and the buildings are interesting to inhabit and to visit. I also think that how quickly it rented up, it showed how preservation is a real win-win situation.
Some new apartments, some apartments that are very, very old and maybe a little bit more affordable, some products that are in between. That the importance of having that mix of available spaces to rent makes for a very healthy rental market and makes it possible for people of all different means to exist together in the same space, which I think is essential to a healthy community.
My hope is that economic development embraces historic preservation to undertake revitalization of communities, because historic buildings are a way to our future, and without them, we have no past.
We like to say in the beginning of this that it was a passion play, and it started out that way, but it really ended up being a preservation play. This building, under any other circumstances, would be a vacant site today.
Adaptive reuse projects are great investments for the community, and you find a lot of people who will want to live in a place that has historical significance.
The building has 18 apartments, 16 one-bedroom, 2 two-bedroom apartments. We are leasing them at a workforce housing level, and it's important being part of this African-American cultural corridor to attract a diverse group of individuals to live here in this building. That was always the goal. The balance of the building, which is about 8,500 square feet, we're trying to attract organizations or businesses that are minority or minority owned and will have a impact on East Buffalo and the residents here. We're fortunate that we have a mayor who is preservation minded.
One of the unique elements of this project is that the Buffalo Branch NAACP office will be permanently housed at that location, and that is significant because that location is the actual birthplace of the NAACP, one of the greatest civil rights organizations in American history.
This gives hope to the Black community. This gives hope to every community that partnership, even with government, local and state, we can work together to be a dynamo in what we need to do to bring our cultures and to bring our cities and governments back together again.
Yeah.
People care about where they live. People have pride in where they live. So the preservation effort in Bedford-Stuyvesant actually started at a block association meeting. I was president of the block association. We started in 2008. We got designated in 2015. I think we had about 20 community meetings, and we went door to door and spoke to everyone in the district and did petitions. So it was a long 7 years to designation. I'm working in Harlem right now, which is the cultural evolution of the African diaspora. And for the kids who walk by, for them it's a sense of pride. It's a sense of saying, I belong to a place where great things happen. And especially in Harlem and communities of color that for so long have been misrepresented in the media. 100 years from now, I want some kid to walk by that building, see that marker, and puff out their chest. I hope my legacy will be that I have saved not just some buildings, but I have saved African American and Caribbean American culture. A lot of that is embodied within the buildings. So when the buildings go, part of that legacy is lost.
I really enjoy having students from all different parts of New York, from all different backgrounds, because it allows different people to sort of get the preservation bug. The Bridge to Crafts Careers program is at its heart a partnership program with the World Monuments Fund and with many social services institutions, where young adults are brought into historic institutions like Greenwood, like Woodlawn, and they're taught all different aspects of preservation.
I just think it's a very creative way to introduce the younger generation to historic trades and also beautify places that have historically been neglected, like cemeteries.
The collaboration between Woodlawn, Greenwood, and the World Monuments Fund is one that is interdisciplinary, I would say. Woodlawn started this program, and we were able to really look at Woodlawn as a model and see what could work for us at Greenwood. So we were really happy to work with them, especially in the early planning stages.
One of our goals is to make the students fall in love with historic preservation. The built environment is something that young folks often ignore or don't really consider. So when we tell the students that this is their heritage, this is something that we take care of together, it starts to change something. And so when they go off to whatever careers they go off to, they take that love for historic preservation with them.
My hope for the future of the preservation field is that it gets younger, more diverse, gayer, more of what we see as the present in today's world. It's not pushing anyone out, it's inviting other people in, and it becomes more a reflection of the community that we're trying to serve.
It's a landmark in the neighborhood, but it had been this completely inaccessible structure. A lot of people had curiosity about it, and now have access to it.
Pier 57 is a former shipping site. It was rehabilitated and upgraded to being a public venue. There's a 2-acre, 80,000 square foot public park that's a gift to the community. We also have a public living room that people can come and sit, or they can buy food from our market, which is a market that celebrates minority and women-owned small businesses. The James Beard Foundation has its platform here. There are bookable classrooms here. We have City Winery. The City Winery is a world-class music venue. And of course, we have Google as our anchor tenant.
On the inside, you can experience so much of the Pier's architecture and its structure. And you all have done a great job with exhibition kiosks and information about the Pier. So people maybe have known this building from the outside. Now they can see it from the inside and at the same time sort of learn about its really unique history, because this caisson construction is truly unique.
Yeah.
It's the only pier in the city with a basement.
It's a pier without piers.
This pier has been knit into the overall thread of the park. So now it's sort of a part of the Trust Park, which it really hadn't been. It had just been this sort of feature that people just went by. Hopefully for the long-term benefit of the park and the city, it's now a contributing part of this overall amazing park.
You're confronted with two simple choices on old buildings like this. One choice is knock them down, and the other choice is restore them. The biggest obstacle was making economic sense of an old building, so we repurposed it into three parts, one being a high-end restaurant, Name of Harvest, which is a farm-to-table theme. And second being the second floor hotel space, which was a boutique hotel. And then lastly, the former opera house of the Bent Opera House on the third floor, we've repurposed into an event space.
To see it all done was magical, and how great the whole team worked together and made it happen. It's a beautiful thing.
When I first walked into the building, obviously the building did not look
anything like it looks now. It was in pretty bad disarray. There were pretty large holes in the floors. There were parts of the facade were coming down. The roof was in really rough shape. So it was definitely one of these projects when you walk in, and it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of attention to detail to complete what we needed to get done out here. For a community like Medina to kind of survive and to thrive is you will need to restore these buildings. They're not meant to last forever, and without restoration, they won't continue to thrive.
So we're super thankful that the building held on for us and didn't fall, because now it will stand for another 100 years.
They're not just buildings, they're homes. They're the safe place where people go at the end of the day to relax. And when that's taken away from you, it profoundly impacts the quality of your life. I am a scientist by training. I'm not a preservationist. But in 2011, in September, there was an enormous flood. We had a 500-year flood in Owego from Tropical Storm Lee. We had 3.5 feet of water in the first floor. And so this whole journey starts with this house and our recovery from the flood. You know, we rebuilt in 11 and 12, the house elevated in 15. It's a pretty long time scale. This is a fabulous community. It would be a shame to lose it. So, my house became a microcosm of just this entire mission. And what I was able to do with my house, I want to help other people and communities achieve. I know at heart, a preservationist, they want the building to stay the way the building originally was, and they want to maintain that sense of history. But if these buildings are destroyed by flood or other climate hazards, then they're not worth anything to us anymore. So we have to be willing to say, okay, we're going to make thoughtful modifications to these buildings, and by doing it, we're going to keep them around for many more years to come.
I think it's really tempting to think about affordable housing and preservation as two sort of opposed things. And what we've found here, and what we've really tried to prove out as a model, is that they belong together. So our mission has really evolved to rehabbing homes that have been taken through foreclosure and then selling them as affordable first-time homeownership opportunities, eligibility based on income and family size. So we're both rehabbing houses and sort of resolving blight on these blocks with these really rundown structures, but we're also preserving affordability and providing opportunities to own homes. I'm really, really, really proud of the way that we renovate these houses. We've kind of created a new model by figuring it out of how we can make sure that every house is unique. All of the original things are celebrated and preserved and taken care of, but also brought up to 21st century living, which is super important. All of our houses are fully electric. They are, as well insulated as we can possibly get them, working with old structures. I think it's a model that we've been successful at, and I hope to see other places replicate. And I think the results speak for themselves. The houses are gorgeous. They are built to last. We don't put materials in that you would anticipate replacing in 10 years. We want these homes to be loved for generations. This house is about to be home to a family, and that's magic. That's really cool.